Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Melissa, but to all of you, my intriguing, mysterious, fascinating subscribers, you already know that you can call me Missy. Today I have another sewing mystery for you all, along with a sewing project I did at the request of my sister. So buckle up and let's get going.
I was working late in the office, waiting for an appointment with a museum director who had phoned with an urgent request. But the hours ticked by and I had concluded it was a no-show. I'd begun to pack up when there was a knock at the door. I was tired and annoyed answering the door, but it was obvious who it was at first glance.
You must be Director Hardwick. You know, I thought you museum directors might be a bit more punctual. You know, you're over 2 hours late. Yes, of course I'm aware of how late I am. Usually I am more punctual. There was a patron attempting to glue buttons on the eyes of all the busts in the Hall of Statues. They caused quite a disturbance when we informed them that they were allowed in the museum nevermore. I had to pry these buttons off the eyes of the bust of Pallas before I could come. And of course it was hellishly busy all day, as it always is when a new exhibit opens. And that's not even the worst of it. Another item was notably missing this morning from the Hall of Antiquities. I need your help on this case yesterday. Let's see if we can catch this thief moving forward. Those the files I asked you to bring? Yes. Here. Incident reports, personnel, schedules, names, dates, partner companies. Though I don't understand how this all necessarily is of use to you. The police didn't ask for this much detail, but I'd give you my left humerus at this point if it would be of any help. Listen, Director, I don't plan on making any bones about this case. I'll let you know if I need anything else, and you do likewise if you think of anything useful. I will, of course I will. Thank you so much for accepting this case. I wish you all luck. Hello party people! By now you know that this week we are sewing and I am working on a project not for myself and not for my household, but actually something for my sister. She's amazing. She's also far more trendy than I am, and when she said that she wanted a pair of stays, I was like, yes, I will make it for you. I also used it as leverage to force her to go to the Ren Fair with me. So we went out and picked some fabric. I'm going to be using this fabric, which is, I think, some kind of natural fiber, but mostly blended with some polyester. And then this, which is probably a 100% cotton quilting fabric, which I need to wash real fast, actually. We have talked pretty extensively about what she wants, and I'm gonna give it to her. Let's go.
I first needed to decide what to do with this mess because I keep my patterns in that blue bench. So with that out of the way, I was free to look through my patterns, which are organized like my desk in elementary school. What I was looking for is this red threaded pattern that I had purchased before, but I had also made some adjustments to it in order to make a front closing bodice without the tabs that you could see in that pattern. And so I needed to make it so that it closed in the back instead of in the front. So that's the adjustment that I am making to the pattern in this segment of the video. Additionally, my sister did not want shoulder straps with her stays, so I adjusted the top front corners of the stays so that they weren't poking up as far. So then I just played paper, paper, scissors until I won, and my prize was a slightly adjusted version of an adjusted version of a pattern that I purchased. Next, I laid out my pattern pieces onto my fabric, and then, like a good detective at a crime scene, I went ahead and used chalk to outline each of those pattern pieces. And thus, it is exactly like a murder mystery where the question isn't who done it, but whether can we do it? And also hoping that the answer, as in Bob the Builder, is yes, we can. I guess it really isn't like a murder mystery, but you know what? We're having fun, and maybe it is in our brains. in our very delusional brains. I guess if I do end up killing it in this project, it would be more like a reverse murder mystery. So, just a murder, like a heist, but what you're stealing isn't money, but someone's life. And remembering that this is supposed to be a simile, I guess the life we're stealing here is the life of this sewing party by using this terrible metaphor. And as I've been rambling, I have also moved on to the next step, which is drawing the boning channels onto the pattern pieces that I've already cut out. And when I was done with that, I was ready to just go ahead and sew all of the different pieces together. So here I am, just sewing my little heart out when I realized that I have sewn the boning channel guides on the outer side of my project. I needed them on the inside. And here is the moment of realization. Yeah, if you feel like you can relate to this, go ahead and drop an emoji of your choice that you feel illustrates this very moment in the comments down below. Yeah, nobody wants to have to use their seam ripper when they're sewing, but you know, we're glad that we have it when we need it. There was no further incident in sewing that together, so I moved on to the next step, which was putting in my boning channels, which in this case would be some bias tape. This was my first time sewing boning channels in this way. In the past, I've kind of just sewn two pieces of fabric together and then sewn the boning channels over top.
Good morning, good morning. It's a new day. I went to the store and got some bias tape to finish up these boning channels, and it's time for me to get to work.
I only had a few more boning channels to cut out and pin down, so I made pretty quick work of that. It's not too difficult. And I was ready to sew everything down. This was all pretty straightforward, but it was at this point that I decided to make one more deviation from the original pattern, and that is that there is a boning strip that goes across the chest sort of perpendicularly to these boning channels that you see here, and I just decided to leave that out. And you might be asking yourself what I'm doing here. What I'm doing here is just gluing a little bit of this yellow fluffy fabric to the ends of the bones, which are just industrial strength zip ties, and just gluing those onto the ends so that they don't poke into the body as much at those ends. The boning channels were very thin, so I had to cut them very close to the zip ties, and even then it was kind of a struggle to get them back into the boning channels. And now for a smooth transition back into the film noir museum heist story that we started. It was late, but I was excited to get to work on this interesting challenge. There was no sign of forced entry. The night watch reported no disturbances, but artifacts would just disappear without a trace. I worked through the night and into the morning, connecting people, dates, incidents. No solutions were jumping out at me.
That's it. I'm too close to the problem.
As I slowly backed away from my scribbles and diagrams, something suddenly became clear to me.
I skipped breakfast and I'm hungry. Better make some eggs.
It was seeming like I'd wasted my night. However, I like my cases like I like my eggs. Over hard. So, with my stomach full and my head cleared, I got back to work. This time, I came away with a theory and a plan to catch the thief.
Welcome to another day and the part of the video where I go ahead and show you what I did off camera because my battery died again. I cut out and sewed together all of this fashion fabric, and I also ironed that down so it would be nice and flat. On the other side here you can see the black, and in the middle I've got some bones. I realized that I didn't have enough zip ties to bone this thing entirely, so I had an idea. I have this pair of stays, which was the very first set of stays that I ever made as kind of like a mock-up trying out the red threaded pattern, which I'll link down below. But it turned out a little too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apart. I'm going to cut off the grommets so that I can use this in the future anytime I'm making something that laces up to temporarily add something so that I can try on the garment and see how it fits before adding grommets to the finished product. I also began taking the bones out so I can use this zip tie boning in the current project that I'm working on. So this attempt will not entirely go to waste. My sister's here with me today for a fitting. I need to finish getting bones into the project that I'm working on in this video. So let's do it.
Now, if you struggle to watch surgical videos, then you'll probably be fine watching this because it's nothing like surgery on a living creature. But it was a little bit like creating Frankenstein's monster in that I spoke the entire time with a Swiss accent. No, I didn't actually, but that would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? Additionally, that accent was horrible, but you know what? That's part of the fun. If you can't do bad accents just for fun, then I don't know what is life. As you can see, the operation was a success. Okay, sorry, I'm done with the accent. For now. Anyways, I needed to go ahead and use what I had harvested from my other project and put it into this one. They were a lot longer in the previous project, so I did need to trim each and every one of the zip ties down in order to make them fit into my new project because the old project had all the tabs and things. After getting all the bones in place, I was ready to do the fitting, but I needed to put those grommet pieces onto the back, so I just did that with a quick straight stitch, which was fast and easy. I just wanted to make sure that it lined up with where the grommets would be going. Time to try on. I probably should have started lacing it up maybe a little bit before.
I'm feeling like the bride of Beetlejuice right now.
Okay, I'm struggling. Okay, I'm gonna start lacing it up first.
But Mom, I don't want to marry him. I'm just imagining that like my evil overbearing mother is making me dress in the latest fashion to marry a dude. But darling, it's the latest fashion.
It is a cage of patriarchy. Fashioned about my rib cage, which is a cage of ribs.
The corset was designed by men to make women seem like they don't eat mac and cheese.
But we totally do. It's kind of loose, it seems to me, but like, how do you feel?
It feels pretty good though.
It's as tight as it can be.
Oh really?
If you would like it to be able to be tighter, we can do that.
Maybe a little bit. It doesn't feel bad, but yeah, it does feel like a looseness.
Here is a look at the back. I pointed out to my sister that we didn't need all that much length going up the top of her back. So she decided that she would prefer to have it cut down a little bit so it's not quite so tall up there. So after this, we took it off of her. I made a few adjustments and then we did another try on. This time we noticed that it was still a bit looser at the top than at the bottom. I asked if anything was digging in and then I had her sit down to make sure that it still felt pretty comfy, that nothing was digging in with the change of position. And we decided that just the corners were digging in kind of to her armpit areas. So I shortened that down as well. With the fitting done, I could take off the temporary grommets, which they were just stitched on loosely, so those came off pretty easily. And then I had to make all of the same adjustments that I had made to the black layer to our layer of very cute quilting fabric. I assured myself that the two layers matched up, and then I cut that back piece as I had agreed upon with my sister to shorten it up. Then, of course, I also had to adjust the length of the bones for those areas.
Once again, because of battery issues, off camera, I have sewn, just top stitched, and it's gonna be a little difficult to see because I did such a good job. Just kidding, because the thread is a similar color. I just top stitched the fashion fabric to the other stays. So on one side, it's all this, what's it called? It's this pretty cotton quilting fabric. Say that 5 times fast. Pretty cotton quilting fabric, pretty cotton quilting fabric, pretty cotton quilting fabric, I can't do it. Anyways, pretty cotton quilting fabric on one side, and then on the other side is just plain black, but you can see the bones a lot more clearly through this side because I had attached the boning channels to it. So it gives it an element of design to the plain black side without being an overt pattern, as you can see on this side. You can see the bones, maybe not in this lighting, but you can see the bones are visible because they're white against the black background, and then you've got the white quilting fabric on top of it. So there's like a shadow effect where you can shadow see the white boning. Sister approved it, so it's okay. I added some thinner bones to this edge because I was concerned that I wouldn't have enough space in here to add the grommets. I think we'll be good at this point, but that was a concern. I also went ahead and finished off this edge with some hand stitching up and down so that this is all finished off. Now I just need to attach the bias tape all around the top and bottom edges. I ended up only putting fluffy stuff to cushion out the bottom edges of it because the top edges don't seem to dig in as much. Now I just need to finish off these raw edges, add grommets, and it'll be done. Let's get to work. I just pulled this bias tape out of the packaging and it's the wrong kind. It is super thick. I don't need bias tape that's this thick. It's way too much. Why do I keep doing this? I feel like I did this. I did this in my stays video, but that time I bought the bias tape too thin. Now I've bought it too thick. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. And by we, I mean me. Looks like I may be going to the store. I'm gonna take a quick look at my stash just to be absolutely certain that I don't perhaps have something that'll work.
I found this black ribbon, but I didn't like it. And then I went through the rest of my stash and I didn't actually have anything that would work, but I did get an idea, and that was just to cut the bias tape that I already had because I really did not feel like leaving my house again. And now, if you actually tried to say pretty cotton quilting fabric 5 times in a row quickly, please let me know if you were successful or not. Like, is it just me or is it legit a tongue twister? Because sometimes I'm recording these voiceovers and I can't say just simple sentences. I have to do take after take after take. And it's really silly because I feel like normally I don't stumble over my words this much, but maybe I do. Like, maybe my mouth is like one of those clumsy heroines in like a young adult novel or teen film. where she's clumsy, but it's like endearing. I don't know that my face being clumsy is endearing. And when I say face, I mean my mouth or maybe my tongue. I don't know. This is kind of getting weird. We're just gonna stop talking about my mouth/tongue being clumsy. Anyways, here I am just sewing the bias tape to the edges to get rid of the raw edges. I sewed down with the machine first, and then I whip stitched it over on the other side of it. The next morning, whilst still in my pajamas, I got up bright and early and started putting grommets into the back of the stays. I used the pattern on one side to just mark out where each of the grommets is going to go with some chalk, and then I just laid it side by side and marked out the other side by eyeballing it. And then I wasn't sure if my eyeballing was good enough, which it usually is, but you know, it's better safe than sorry. I pulled out the gold grommets because that's what she wanted. My sister is just bougie like that. I used the seam ripper to make a small hole, and then I used a pencil to widen the hole so that it was wide enough to put the grommets into place. And for some reason, I decided to do all of this with my body cramped inside this little doorway for some, I don't know why. With the grommets in place, the stays are done, and it is time for us to get back to our detective story and figure out how we solved the museum mystery. I whipped something up and convinced Director Hardwick to put it in the contemporary exhibit. It was picked up by the delivery company and brought into the museum. The delivery boy was all too happy to assist the curator in setting up the piece so the busy museum worker could fill out some paperwork. When the exhibit reopened with the new addition, I was one of the first through the door. I took a look around and found a suitable place to hide myself. Safely hidden with my camera, all I had to do was wait. I did so, still and patient as a statue, until the museum closed and the night watch came on duty. His footsteps echoed around the empty building in a recognizable pattern. It was barely perceptible, but I heard another sound, a faint rustling.
I gotcha.
The waiting game was back on, but I stayed alert and resolute until the sun rose and the museum opened back up. It wasn't long before there was a disturbance, and as I predicted, it was time to move.
Stop right there! You're not getting away!
Getting away from what?
Oh, don't play innocent. I saw you last night and I got the photographs to prove it. You stole from this museum, and you're gonna steal again. What is this? Not to worry, I'm just catching this thief and... Oh no, darling, I don't mean that. What is this? Why, this dress, it's just simply divine. It is art. Oh, that's nothing. I just made that to help catch this thief. See? He's got the evidence. He's got it right here in his coat. He stole it. You made this? Well, yes, but darling, you must make one for me. I must have one. No, see, you've got it all wrong. I'm not a seamstress anymore. I don't make dresses. I'm a detective now. I catch thieves like this one here. See, I've got everything on this here camera. I've got all the proof here on this camera, and I'm gonna take him away. See? He's gonna be locked up for good because I'm a good detective, okay? I'm not a seamstress anymore.
It's about me. It's all about me.
What about us?
As we're doing this portion, you will also be hearing toddler noises. That's because there is a toddler in the building and she will not be stopped. And we don't want to stop her either. Now is the opportunity for me to formally introduce you to my sister. This is Katie. She is an awesome person. She's obviously the pretty sister. And she's also an incredible interior design whiz. I will link her socials down below so that you can follow her as well. But yeah, say hi to the peeps.
Hey peeps.
Yeah.
If you're watching, you're a real one.
If you're watching, you are a real one. And you should probably drop a shoe emoji in the comments.
Yeah, for fashion.
For fashion. For fashion. Now is the point in the video when I usually go into a critique about the corset. So I'm going to do the critiquing portion because I'm better at being mean to myself. So there are a few imperfections with the piece, I feel. I feel like the trim going around it's not a uniform width. Especially it's notable in a few places, such as the back on the black side of it. And at the bottom, in the little scoopy section, right in the front, the point in the front. And now that she knows about the imperfections, she's throwing it in the trash and she'll never wear it again.
It actually looks great. But I'll let you continue critiquing.
The other thing is that the eyelets are not a brand that I've ever used before, so I don't know what I did wrong, but there's one eyelet in the back that doesn't have the round gold piece on one side of the fabric, and I'm not entirely sure what happened. I have some footage of that I'll put here. I was a little bit concerned about the, because I have made stays for myself before where like the bottom edge of it like poked into me. So I was a little bit concerned about that happening, but we just went and had lunch.
Yeah, I would say overall, because we were talking, I really didn't notice. I think mostly for me, just because it's rigid in general, it's got like this plasticky material for the boning. Obviously over time you'll start to feel it, but it's nothing unbearable. Like I said, it's only like if you really think about it. So overall I would say it was pretty comfortable, especially for like a stay corset type of thing. Like you never expect those. They don't look comfortable. You never expect them to be, and I would say this is relatively comfy.
How much do you love it?
I love it. I think she did some zooming in on some of the fabric in some of those fashion shots. We went with like this cute floral with strawberries pattern, which I think will look really cute throughout the spring, summer. This is something that I wanted this piece in my closet. And I specifically asked that it be double-sided so I could switch back and forth, but I wanted it so that I could tie in some of my outfits. Like this shirt, I've had the hardest time wearing until now I have this thing.
Literally today.
Literally today. Now I feel like it's given my clothes new life and my style. It just like, I feel like pieces like this just add like the extra oomph and statement that like a regular outfit, or like if I just was wearing this shirt with this pants, it took me from like regular mom to cool mom. No, I just feel like it really elevates the whole look. So.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. It's good to see you feeling more confident. I know that like you were talking about how like since becoming a mom that you'd been struggling with like obviously body and fashion. Coming back after having a baby, there's this moment where like you completely lose yourself as a human being. Everything has changed so much, including that fashion element.
Yeah, you go through the like, gosh, I'm for the baggy pants and like t-shirts and just like the bun on top and kind of how I looked at the beginning of the video.
Yeah.
Like you kind of feel like, well, this is my new uniform now for a while. But then you realize like sometimes all it is just sizing up or maybe getting a cute tailor-made piece or, you know, just like switching things up in your look a little bit and just adjusting and still having fun and knowing that you can still dress cute even though your body is different than it was before. Like you are still able and entitled to feeling your best self. I'm so excited to wear this with all of the outfits. Like just the ones we showed you today were just actually a few of what we kind of like pulled out of my closet.
Yeah.
So
It's just the beginning.
it's just the beginning.
I need to do my outro actual speech though. The one where I tell people to do things and they listen to me because they're nice.
Tell them what to do.
Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. If you liked anything about this video,
Like, follow, share, subscribe.
but if you subscribe, then I will be able to see you in the next video. Bye. And attempting to glue eyes on all the busts in the Hall of Statues. Just need to attach my... We're hit with babies. Hall of... There was a... Nah. Now I just need to attach my... I introduce you to my sister.
Hi.
How come she's not Russian? US? It's because she's not.
Photographs to prove it.
This stuff. What do they say? What do they say? God save the
God
queen.
save the queen.
What do they say about the queen over there?
Save the queen.
Save her! Somebody please save her!
What are you doing? You don't try to arrest an innocent man.
What's it called?
It's a new day. It's a new me. I don't know.
Now hang on a minute. If you made that to catch me, is there some reason that she couldn't just have that?
What am I saying?
Test, test, baby. Dun 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 dun.
How about if I broker a deal between you and her?
Now you have it all wrong, see? I'm not a thief.
Are you ready for this? Bias tape. It was on the packaging. I could have read it the whole time.